Welcome to the Psych Gym. Let's hit the weights. Hey, back again with another episode of the Psych Gym. I'm Vanessa Perry, very excited to talk to you about this thing today. A little fired up about it. We'll see where it goes. I have my bullet points because that's been helping me. I don't know if it's been helping you, if I feel like I'm more organized. I don't know if I sound more organized. So feedback always a great thing. But I have my bullet points because this, I feel like I could easily go off track without my bullet points. So, confirmation bias. Oh, sweet land of the living. The internet is a beautiful thing. It has so much information. Why on earth do we still have such a confirmation bias situation when there's so much information out there? Well, we do. Have you ever found yourself Googling to prove a point? Or you only share news that fits your belief system? That's your confirmation bias in action. It is the tendency to favor information that supports what we already believe. Today, we're going to talk about what it is, why it happens, and how to recognize when we're doing it, because it sucks to do, for a lack of a better way to say things. It's okay to share information. I want to start with that. I just want to let everybody know that it's okay to share information that is correct for whatever it is that you believe in. This is not about, you're not allowed to share things that seem true, feel true, look true. But I think when we use it as a confirmation that we are the only right people and that this thing I found proves that every other person who thinks something different is wrong, it's wild to me. Because when you do this work, y'all, you understand that there is not one thing besides eat, sleep, drink water that to survive. Aside from those three things, there is nothing that applies across the board to every human on this planet. It's unbelievable that we even do that. That we take statistics from certain things and then just apply it across the board as if there is no nuance and as if there is no other factors in other people's lives that could create a different outcome. It's insanity. It makes me crazy because that's why we're in such a mess. We want lots and lots of blanket statements and we live in a non-blanket world, y'all. Like it's not the way that it is. I can tell you that from the work that I do. Not once have I been able to apply a treatment plan based on a treatment planner workbook that fits across the board. It all has to have nuance, all of it. So anyway, see, I already went off track. I have bullet points, y'all, and that was not one of the bullet points, but I get fired up. Anyways, confirmation bias again is when we search for, interpret, or remember information that confirms our existing beliefs. So it's kind of like, if you're researching a product and you're only looking at the glowing reviews, if you are looking for information about something that you grew up believing and you just won't listen to anybody who says anything different, you're operating with your confirmation bias. You're using your confirmation bias. And it happens every day. We do this all the time, right? Like, especially, if we're, kind of feeling like, yeah, but why are you doing it the way that you're doing it? Here's the way I do it. And we'll share something that says that. And it's not bad. Okay. So, like everything, I don't like the blanket statements of, hey, this is bad. It can be bad. It can also be good, right? Sometimes we're sharing good information. Sometimes we are sharing information that if people can digest it, they can understand, again, that there's nuance in this world, that there are differences in this world, that everything is not cut and dried in this world. So why does this happen? Why does confirmation bias happen? Well, it's easy, right? The brain prefers information that aligns with what we already think. It's easier and it feels good. It's hard to think in other directions, right? Very hard. Emotional attachment. A lot of times our beliefs tie into our identity, who we think we are, even, not always who we are. So conflicting information feels threatening or uncomfortable. I feel like that is very important for everybody to hear. So I'm going to say it again. Our beliefs often tie into our identity or who we think we are. So conflicting information feels threatening or uncomfortable. It also, there's cognitive dissonance, which is such a fun word to say, but a lot of people don't know what it means because it is a very therapist word. People don't run around talking about cognitive dissonance unless they are interested in psychology in some way. But that is when you're, faced with information that contradicts your belief, it creates discomfort and will reject it to restore mental peace, so we can understand it. It's like you understand it, but it's too uncomfortable for you to actually absorb it. So that it's kind of like a push pull that goes on. And we don't like that. It doesn't feel good. It does not feel good. It feels good to feel right, right? We are definitely trained to feel right as the top emotion to feel, especially in arguments, in conversations, in things that we're trying to affect people. We're trying to manipulate them into believing what we believe in order to get something. And again, not bad. Sometimes that happens. I'm trying to manipulate everybody into believing that love is the answer. And I'm highly, operating on a confirmation bias, right? But I'm still going to do it, and it doesn't make it bad. It makes it bad if I use tactics that are harmful. If I'm mean to people, that would be not a great way to spread love. It would actually not be operating from the, what I'm presenting, right? It doesn't make sense. So how does it affect us? How does confirmation bias actually affect us? It affects our decision making for sure. Our choices like shopping, voting, health decisions, people that we bring into our lives, the social impact. It creates like little pockets of people, right? This is where like our little groups, form our little, just kind of like, I don't want to say cults. Cult was the word that came to mind, but I was like, that is too strong, Vanessa. Think of a different one. But, it's just pockets of people who think the same, like-minded individuals. Again, not always bad, but sometimes can be, right? Because it can close us off to information from other people because we sit around in our little groups and we talk about how right we are and we will not let other people's information in. So that's not good when we actually think about it. It means that we will not grow because we will not learn new information. And that's just such a mistake. Life changes, people change. We still don't know not even half about how brains operate. So we have to be able to not sit in our little circles and go, this is the only way things are going to be forever and ever. We have to be open. We have to learn to be, just curious about what other things might be happening. We still may feel right for us, and that's okay. But that closed off and that fighting and that division, that's the thing where I feel like the confirmation bias comes in and just wrecks all of our lives. It affects our critical thinking. Confirmation bias can cloud your judgment and limit your ability to make a well-rounded decision. It's one-way thinking, y'all, and that is not critical thinking. Some people think it is. It is not. Critical thinking is getting all the information, even the stuff that sucks and doesn't prove you right, so that you can kick it around in your head. When you are operating from confirmation bias, you're living in a bubble where everything feels true because it only reflects your beliefs and experiences. And that is wild to think about. You, the one of 8 billion, are right about everything. Come on, man, right? This is the conversation I have with myself sometimes when I feel like I know everything. I have that conversation like, do you really know everything? You think you know everything right now, don't you? Go ask some questions because you might be mostly right for where you are or what you're thinking about or what current information actually exists, right? That might be the top of the information we know right now. But just go check it out. Be open. Allow yourself to hear opposing viewpoints. Allow yourself to dig deeper. Allow yourself to not be led by what is put in your face, because what's put in your face is put there for a reason. People work very hard to make sure they're up front, at front and center with their information, and it is not because they care. So remember that. So, how do we overcome this? How do we change from being using our confirmation bias as our sole way of thinking? Self-awareness. Notice when you're only seeking out information that supports your point of view only. If you can't sit down and listen to somebody else's opposing viewpoint and actually just kind of be curious about where it came from, not judge it as right or wrong, but just be curious. You know, sometimes it is where you sit there and you go, how the fuck could somebody think that? But I promise you, if you think about it long enough, you will come up with an answer, because I've had to do that work. In order to do the work that I do, I can't just sit down with somebody and have them tell me what they think and then go, well, that's fucking stupid. You're wrong. I can't. That would make me a terrible therapist. I may not agree with everybody, but I do want to know why. So I ask questions, like, where did that come from? Tell me why that feels that way for you, because I am interested. I'm not interested because I'm going to tell them that they're wrong. I'm interested because I want to know how they got there. It helps me have empathy, and it does also help me have open conversations so that I can understand them and they can understand me. But I have to be self-aware. I have to know when I'm rejecting and not and creating a divide by using my confirmation bias versus, sometimes, again, I'm over here trying to spread love. So I know what my goal is. And so I might be being curious and I might be trying to talk because I'm trying to infuse love into that person. That's okay. I don't feel wrong for that, for wanting people to feel a little bit more love and compassion for each other, but I have to meet them where they're at in order to do that. And people aren't going to feel comfortable if they don't feel comfortable. And if you make them feel uncomfortable, they're not going to listen. And that's just it, right? Seek out opposing viewpoints. Do it on purpose, right? Like freaking, if they treat everything as if it were a research environment. In a research environment, you don't only look for your answers, you look for the things that are going to disprove your hypothesis, right? Because you don't want people to be able to come in and go, well, actually, that's not true. So you try to account for all the factors. You try to look for all the things that could disprove your hypothesis, your thought process, your viewpoint, right? So go look, challenge your own beliefs. A lot of our beliefs come from handed down bullshit, guys. I mean, I can't say it enough. Handed down bullshit. And when I sit down with people, even people who have been raised very, very close-minded, and you see who that person is on the inside, you go, my God, you're just buried under a pile of blankets that somebody else put on you as your belief system. So listen to how people think, even if it challenges your beliefs, because you might change your mind. And there's nothing bad about that and everything good. We should be growing. If you look and you haven't grown in the last 10 years, ask yourself why. Why haven't I grown? Why do I think that I am perfect the way that I am and that the world changing around me shouldn't change anything that I do, think, or believe? Because, that's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough life. You're going to be angry a lot. How another way that we overcome is what I've been saying, ask why, be curious. Before you reject something, ask why you disagree. Why is it something that you will not even look at? Because you can't be hypocritical and then expect other people to not be hypocritical, right? So if you're like, you have to listen to what I have to say because I'm right, but you won't listen to what they have to say, like they don't have to listen to you either. And that's how we get where we are. That's why we're in such big divide. Nobody wants to listen. Everybody just wants to be right. Discussion. Gosh, I can't say it enough. Talk to people. Talk to people who think differently, live different lives. Be open. because there's far less danger in this world than anybody ever understands. But we have all of these biases, undercover biases that tell us that we're different from everybody else. We're different from those kinds of people. So talking to them is going to, and then people can't even finish that sentence. They're going to what? You're going to understand them, and then you're going to have to see them as humans. Oh no. What's that going to mean? Sit with yourself. Ask yourself these questions, because it is a lot easier to be a curious person in this world than it is to be a person who is staunch in your beliefs. And I can tell you that from personal experience. I can tell you that from watching other people. Sometimes I have no idea why people are so hateful, but I want to know why people are so hateful. And then I understand why people are so hateful. And then I try to come up with ways to make people not so hateful, because I also know that a lot of people who are hateful don't actually like how they feel when they're being hateful. They're in some sort of emotional distress. And if I can help them bypass that emotional distress, they won't be so hateful. And I can only do that by being curious about them, by learning about them, by making them feel like I'm not rejecting them right away, that I am interested in why they are the way that they are, why they believe what they believe, what their life experiences have taught them. That's the only way that I'm going to have a shot at all at bridging gaps. So I want you to challenge yourself this week. Maybe seek out some information or have a conversation with something or someone that makes you question your beliefs, something that is the opposite. Just really sit with it. By becoming aware of our biases, we take the first step toward making more informed decisions by, learning these things about ourselves. We learn how to be part of the change that's good. Together, we are always going to be stronger, and we can't be together if we are going to only be separate in our thinking and not be open in the reality of life, which is that we are all different. Every single person is different. There is no such thing as blanket across the board. This works for everybody. It doesn't exist. Or we wouldn't be in the world we live in right now. So you want to take that for some sort of evidence, you should, because clearly it's not true. The biggest social experiment on earth of everything needs to be a certain way, failing hard. So I'm going to leave you with that. Hopefully you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, subscribe so you can get some more of this information. If you have something you'd like for me to cover, please do drop it in the comments or send me a message on social media, and I will be happy to cover one of those topics. I'm here for you. I want to give information that actually helps. I love to give information that I learn. I love to regurgitate what I've learned. But if it's not helpful, I don't want to waste my energy, and I don't want you to waste your time. So if there's something that you would love for me to cover, just let me know. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Thank you for letting me be your guide today. Love ya. Thanks for listening. To learn more about what I do and how to work with me, head to thepsychgym.com to check it out. Keep lifting, y'all. It's worth it.